All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the saadcast. Today we're here for episode 2, joined by two guests, cfols and EzPz, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
As Saad just said, my name's cfols. I'm a T 3.5 player, and I played for many teams. Polaris, the now under the American Academy team. I played for what was their name? Dynasty, or as we like to call it, Dynasty. And then I had a short stint on Project Neo. Um, that was so short lived. That was so funny. And then now I've been like hopping around teams trying to make my own, and now we've settled down with uh the team name Bedtime Boys. It's me, Atlas, Slips, Fire, and Impulse, and
Great
we're
Yeah,
gonna be
team.
that team's
running
gonna
every
that team's gonna run some pockets.
Yeah.
yeah. We're looking to qual in every league under the moon. Yeah, that's that. I don't know. I play support. I do IGLing for the team, or I do most of the pregame calling and stuff like that. And yeah, my Twitter handle is @cfols06.
Yeah, drop him a follow. He's kind of cute.
I'm easy. I've been doing comp for I don't know, 8 months now. I think no, way longer than that actually, like almost a year. And I've been on 3 teams. I was on Kazoku, and then I was on Revenge Nation Academy, and then now PRG Academy, Phantom Rose. I do like IGLing and support play for the team. We're currently in like OCL Bravo,
Man,
and we're
we
looking to
got
do more calls.
3 thermite players in the call. Holy
Yes,
shit.
sir.
That's what I'm
Frag
fucking
my
saying.
Oh,
baby. Frag my.
I forgot to talk about this. We can talk about the Omega CL thing if it's like
Yeah.
whatever. But my team has an alpha spot, and
Oh yeah, y'all are an alpha. Sick.
yeah, I'll talk about that later. And then we also have an AEL spot too, so we're chilling.
Nice.
It's fun.
Yeah. Sick.
Yo, Elias, remember AEL calls? That shit was a blast.
I want to fucking kill myself.
That was a
Maybe
blast.
and all, but let's talk about the actual drama this week. So I think
God.
it was way earlier in the week, like right after our podcast was recorded. There was some drama about some T3 players wanting in on the T1, T2 10-mans. What do you guys think about that?
My opinion is that if you're not T1 or T2, you shouldn't be allowed into the T1, T2 10-mans. Just because you are a good player does not mean you are entitled to it. Okay?
Yeah,
That
I
isn't.
perfectly agree with that.
Yeah, no, like your skill may be there, but the fact that you're trying to ego your way into it, I think that that's fucking sad, personally. But
Like, I mean, the way I've like looked at the situation is okay, the pros want to play with other pros. You can't get all butt hurt because you're not one of them. Like, if you want in, go grind your way through CL or 2CL, grind your way through PL or whatever you need to do, and then you can go and say, okay, now let me in. If they're not letting you in, then there's something to bitch about. But until then, you're a T3 shader with the rest of us. Just sit down. Just calm down. It's not that big of a deal.
yeah, especially when it's a bunch of like 15, 16-year-olds that barely know shit about the way people in the world works, and they expect. Yeah, no, you are not. You don't get a spot reserved for you just because you've scrimmed against T1 and T2 a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned that about a lot of people in this community. A lot of people think they're entitled to whatever they want just because they're decent, halfway decent at a video game. So
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's a video game. This isn't a career path for you yet until you
Yeah.
reach high T2 or pro league. This
Yeah,
is
like,
a
My take
hobby.
on it?
realistically,
Alright,
you have not yet proved yourself in T3. Like, just because you're playing T3 and you're winning things doesn't mean you've proved yourself for like CL and whatnot.
I agree, but my take on it is so sometimes with this T1, T2, there was the issue of NJR and Iconic egoing people that are in CL, Yardy and Kilo. You guys see the Kilo run out clip?
Yep,
Dude,
Everyone's seen
banger.
that clip.
everyone's seen
That
that
comes to
clip.
the issue of swinging things that you shouldn't be swinging, and a quote unquote monkey. It's like that like Yardy or to these pro, like that's kind of, I don't know.
Okay.
If you don't, if it,
You're cutting out.
it's your fault.
Yeah, Sam,
It's
you're a robot right now, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so the thing with like people demanding to be in the Pro 10s is that there's only like I think I can count on like one hand the people that haven't been in PL or CL that are in there.
Give me a
Like
second.
Melted, DP Fire, and Yaga. Those are the only 3 people that are in there, to my knowledge at least, that like aren't in PL or CL. Melted because he's on that Ape team, which probably will qualify
Yaga.
for CL.
Yeah.
Oh, Yaga's on that team. Yeah, and also I think Yaga does get PL and CL tryouts a lot more than we knew. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
why
he like
because he's been in
probably
there.
does.
He was in another one like I don't know 5 months ago, the Pro Money 10s. I mean, like he's around there and he's there. So I mean, there's something like I think there's something to say there. But like people like Rex wanting to be in, like yeah, you can compete at that level. Yeah, you know the guys well, but like you like aren't on a team with those guys, or you're not getting those tryouts. I don't know if you are, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah,
me.
no, it's like it's not about have you played against it, have you played with it? Because the disparity in play styles between T1, T2, and T3 is huge, right? Like T3, it's like let's be honest here. A lot of the people in T3, they do play the definition of a bunch of fucking monkeys, right?
Yeah.
Like they'll swing shit with no information. They'll make plays that are borderline questionable in the context of the round, and it may work, right? But at a higher level, that's not going to.
Yeah.
You're going to get your ass kicked, and you will be punished for it. And just because the other 15, 16-year-olds don't punish you for it, doesn't mean the people that have been around the scene for fucking years won't.
Yeah.
Okay. On what you and Sam were talking about, Elias, I kind of want to build on that because I'm going to defend them. Because if you look at EU 10-mans, you see motherfuckers like Shaiko and Joe just jumping out of every window, bullet hole spawn peeking and everything.
Yeah.
The egos of just pro players, and I mean, everyone in the NA scene, the egos are insanely higher than they are from people who are in EU. So, like, as a scene in total, we tend to get a little aggressive
Oh yeah.
with other people because they outplayed us in a certain circumstance. It might not have been the smartest play, but they definitely outplayed us in that situation because they won that. That is something to keep in mind because it definitely happens a lot more. Like even I do the same shit. Like if someone peeks me and it's
Yeah.
a dumbass peek, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're so like okay, it happens, and we need to get over ourselves. We're not as good as we think we are. That is something that needs to be done.
I think it's also has to do a lot with like there's a big disparity in play styles between NA and EU as well. Like EU is like statistically far more aggressive than NA, so I mean that also has to do with it. So it's a little bit more normal there. While like PL players aren't quite as used to people doing that here, so they get more upset when it happens.
I think
And it's gonna get worse because
Yeah.
there's no international lands in the past
Exactly.
while, and there might not be for another. I don't know. Without the US, maybe they could do it, but it'll be a while before any NA team plays an EU team online, and it's gonna be bad. Like what's gonna happen? I don't even know what's gonna happen. It's just gonna be like really bad for NA because the playstyle disparity is just gonna be huge.
Keep in
This
mind-
is true. But what I would like to say about that is I definitely think it's going to give some of the regions like APAC,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to give them a bit more time to develop their own specific play style. And I think that after months and months and months of these international teams having not played each other, that when they do collide, I think we're going to get some of the best Siege we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about what Easy's saying though. Like I like that point. Like it's not normal here, but it actually is a bit. It is too normal here. But the difference between us and EU is that I feel like it's accepted in EU. Like
Yeah.
like okay, you can play like that, but I'm gonna punish you for it. In NA, they're not gonna punish you for it, but they're still gonna let you play like that and then bitch about it. Like that's the difference. Like, EU is about punishing you. NA is about bitching about not working to punish you, and that happens so fucking much. It's insane.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's a lot of young talent in PL right now that has yet to play an international tournament. Like, look at NJR or Iconic, or even like,
Wow.
or even a lot of like a good amount of the Disrupt team, I think like two of their players have never played an international LAN before. So that's always a thing as well.
2 of them?
Yeah, I don't think
Reed
Reed and NJR both haven't played an international LAN, right?
Well, I mean, NJR kind of like. I mean, it's understandable why he hasn't. Like,
Yeah.
he just got into pro league.
Oh
like,
yeah,
he just
no,
turned
for sure.
18 and all that. All right, so he gets a bit of like. You got to understand that.
I guess you're right. I guess you didn't.
Yeah, I'm just saying that a lot of that, like, complaining about the runouts and stuff is they haven't played EU teams yet. They have not.
Oh yeah, no, and if we remember,
they have no experience against it.
And throwback to a team that was very notorious, and one player in specific, Waka from Nora Rango.
Yep.
Right? He still is, in my opinion, one of the most aggressive players in the game, and it works, right? I believe it was I can't name the exact match, right? But I think it was Canadian when he was on EG. I forget who exactly they were playing, and I think it might have been a Fnatic actually.
It was probably where they jump out the Oregon.
Yeah, where they were just playing like absolute apes the whole time.
Yeah, it was that was at the what was that actually? I don't remember. Yeah,
Konami, I think, right?
No.
Sao Paulo, I think.
No, Sao Paulo, yeah.
That's when he got like demolished by Fnatic, and their coach was subbing and everything.
Yep. Yeah, Magna had appendicitis and he couldn't attend.
And I think there's a lesson to be learned from that, though, is because here in NA we'll call it monkey shit, right? But in other regions, obviously they were playing different because they had a coach subbing in, right? So they wanted to go all out and play differently to surprise them. That's fine. But here in NA, if that were to happen, you would get egoed, you would get spat on, and people would call you horrible fucking things for it. Yeah. So there is a degree of professionalism to it, right? Like yes, there are plays that are questionable, but if it's paying off and you're not adapting to it, and like every team can apply this. If you're not adapting to it, at what point is it stupid shit?
Or you being the stupid shit?
Or you being the stupid shit,
I think it also has to do with a lot of people being stubborn and not adapting to the playstyle as well. They're just being stuck in their ways, playing, safe, and then just complaining about it when, like, realistically, they could be changing the way they play to, counter it better or a number of things.
God forbid you swing construction window and give up map control, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Give them construction, man. Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you giving us construction?
I kind of want to move or use EZ's point as a transition. People being stubborn, stuck in their ways. Let's talk about the T3 teams and how a lot of the top T3 teams are really not living up to their standards, or maybe even our expectations for them. Because a lot of us have played those teams, and they just are not where they should be right now. What are you guys contributing to that?
Well, what teams are we talking about?
Let's talk about all the top teams that just. I have.
It depends on who you define as the top team.
Yeah,
this is true.
Okay, let's. I don't know if this is.
I'd say more. I think what he's trying to come across is the seemingly strong rosters, like with really good individual players that are just like struggling right now in their leagues and matches, but are still.
I think we could also combine this topic with like teams that are underperforming and also teams that are performing really well.
Yeah.
Just to make it like a little bit easier. So I think it's performing really well right now is In Control.
Oh yeah, they're dominating
really well. Homeland's doing really well right now. They have
Homeland got out of their slump. Slump. That's good for them.
Yeah.
Very happy for them.
Okay, let's talk about what contributes to a team who is seemingly worse, but is doing way better than like a team who has just players who are absolute slammers in the game and cannot win in comp. What's the disparity there?
So like the opposite with me is like when I look at Joe Academy Esports, I'm like, bro, this is just Twitter's team. Like they just literally just put these players together and they like seemingly aren't that good. On paper, like they look good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like now they have Axe and Woods back. They still have JMR, Og, and Sod, right? That team,
yep,
like on paper should be pretty good. and they actually scrim, but like they're just not. Like JMR on IQ still can't get like top, like I don't know the stats or something, but like he's not doing good on IQ G8. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if that says something or not, but I think that says something.
Yep.
God forbid any of them hear that.
Yeah.
No,
I think
I mean it's an honest opinion, and I think Og will agree with me that team like kind of it does feel like a Twitter. It does feel like a
Oh
Twitter
yeah,
team.
yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think it also varies why different teams struggle. For like it varies between teams because I know like if you look at maybe Unreal Academy or Powerhouse right now, they're both like really good rosters that had really high points. Like Powerhouse was only a couple rounds away from making CL these last quals.
They were okay. Okay. So like the whole powerhouse thing is like the team like disbanded and then like brought on 3 depth people, like 3 people from that depth roster, and you can look at it this way as depth 3.0, but like either way, the way the brackets shaped out, there probably should have been a different team other than Spiker and depth and CL because of the way the bracket turned out. That's my opinion on that. Like depth, like that depth team that got eliminated from SCL was 3 rounds away from CL. Like, let that be known.
Yep.
Let that be known.
I think
Well,
Uh,
the whole
And then
bracket,
Unreal
yeah.
Nightmare Academy, like, I don't know what's going on over there. I have my opinions on them. I'll keep them to myself. But
I think with them,
It's
I think
interesting.
it could also be like how busy they are outside of practicing the game. It could be like outside, like actually IRL distractions.
that's what
I think that's a big thing.
that's what Art told me. I was
Yeah.
like talking to him the other day, and he's like, "Yeah, it's like people outside of the game." And like when they lost Art, like in my opinion, they're losing a lot of their structure because
Mhm,
Mep's like
yep.
the barely 15-year-old is just like moving around the map, like he just owns the
Mhm.
map. And I mean, yeah, it works against some good some teams, but it doesn't like when you're playing at some of the levels that they're expected to play at. You can't do like teams will shut him down, and
Yep.
that's why they do bad.
that is something to
Yeah.
talk about, though. Just like the dedication to the game and balancing your own life with your life in game or your quote unquote career. I try to stray away from calling it a
Career, yeah.
Realistically, the majority of us are in high school or in college,
Yep.
and we're here, like Elias said earlier, just doing a hobby, and it the dedication is what makes the difference between a really good T3 team and a T3 team who is absolutely dogging in the slumps.
Mhm.
So if you could be a bad team, but if you are putting in the work and the hours and just trying to synergize and be your best self through doing all kinds of structure drills or just practices,
Yeah.
just dry running or VOD reviewing, those things will make you such a better team. And that's what a thing that a lot of T3 teams shy away from doing because they just want to play. And I mean, understandably so, we're all here to play. But like, if you do want to take yourself to the next level, you should be doing things like that to like ascend, basically.
Yeah.
And and I feel like a lot of teams, it's not that they don't want to work hard, it's that they don't know how to. And what I mean by that is the fact that they are here to play. They'll run 2-3 hours of fucking T-Hunt, right? They'll scrim like a motherfucker before their matches, but they don't know the little shit
Exactly.
that you gotta do. Because as much as it's improving as an individual player and as the team, there's also some stuff you're not going to notice as an individual, right? And this is where like the concept of coaches and analysts coming in to help a team improve is extremely helpful, because a good coach is going to point out what you're doing wrong, and they're not always going to be nice about it.
Oh no.
Like if you're constantly making a mistake that you don't notice yourself, unless you get someone else to point it out for you, you're going to continue to make it and you're never going to truly improve. And yeah, like fixing mistakes, my mechanical skill and my movement is utter fucking dog shit, right? I'm grinding to fix that. If you're not actively striving to improve on your mistakes, no matter how little they may be, the person that is always going to be on top.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You do have to put that effort in. Without the effort, I I mean, you're basically just playing ranked, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
You're playing ranked, but longer and a little bit
You're
more
playing
frequent.
advanced rank, as we like to call
Yeah.
it.
It's advanced ranked, exactly.
And I also
Ranked with no
think
cheaters.
oh no, you'd think that, right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
I also think that Lord forgive me, I have a headache. But there's so much little shit you gotta do if you really want to get to that next level. And obviously T3 is known for shuffling rosters fucking constantly.
Mhm.
And I feel like obviously other than dedication and egos, a big part of that is just the fact that it's a bunch of underagers, dude. Everyone here, for the most part, doesn't have like let's be honest. Most of the people in T3 are a bunch of white kid, like middle class white kids that have been spoon fed everything. You know,
Yeah.
like a lot of people don't know the hard work or the struggle,
No,
right?
for sure.
And they don't, or they do, and they just refuse to bounce off of it and improve.
Yeah, a lot of teams don't want to work through their struggles as a team. They're like, they keep making these small changes, like, okay, let's drop our Ash player because they did bad, or our Thermite player isn't calling how we need him to call. Instead of teaching that player and working through it as a team, you'll drop a player, and then that new player will come on. That player starts doing well, but then that also will cause a shift in another part of the team. You're not gonna have a perfect team unless you constantly work together. Like, it's almost impossible to like keep changing things and expect yourself to be the best version of yourself. You have to.
I think a lot of people would argue that they aren't like leaving because they aren't dedicated, or I think that a lot of people would argue that they're leaving for a quote unquote better offer. But
at what point do the better offers stop though?
Yeah, at what point like is the offer like that good that you think that you couldn't get to that level with your current team?
Mhm.
And like, why is that offer so much better than your current team? Like, because like think about it, you have to be a compassionate human being. You can't just like screw your teammates over. Like they are also a team, and they aren't leaving because and like, maybe they have offers, and they are sticking with the team because they believe the team has potential. If you don't have like faith in your team, like why?
It's actually something my team and I talk about quite often. Is we usually like if one of our players gets I don't know, let's say like an offer for a trial from another team, like actually like quite a good team, maybe that's one that's succeeding quite a bit. We usually take a sit down and we all talk about it and work out like the issues they think we're having and what we can work on and what's making them consider that, so we can work to be at that same level as the other team.
Right, and sometimes there are just legitimately better offers.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just an offer you can't pass up, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to be subservient and to go below your teammates' sort of vision and to just do shit where they can't see it, and to be a little snake about it, and to not communicate about
not communicate is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Right. Communication
I mean,
is huge.
That kind of leads into what we wanted to talk about like professionalism in the T3 scene.
Okay, yeah, okay. Onto that. Like, I think people, like, at least, like, okay, this is my opinion, and I don't know how many other people share this opinion, but I think people, like, in T3, if you're in, like, AGN or EPS, and you're, like, you're consistently on top 4 teams, like, you're waiting until you're 18 to get a CL offer. So you're in, like, my opinion, the CL waiting room. And so you're not worried so much about how the team does, you're worried more about your friendships. And so I think recently people are, like, even like people in like T3.5, T4 are like looking at it and saying, I just want to play with my friends and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why you see a lot more roster shuffles than you would like something like Pro League or T2, T3, like to IT3. Like you see a lot more of that because people are more committed to playing with their friends than like trying a new team, making friends with those guys and being better. You know what I mean? Like they'd rather play with people they know or like known quantities instead of giving people a chance. But I mean, it's whatever. Do what you want with your team.
I mean,
I was listening.
Making teams with your friends is such a bad idea.
Yeah, I was listening to.
I mean, like it's not.
I think it was
for me. Making a team with your friend isn't a bad idea. Like if you're starting a team and like like my opinion, you have to start a team with like 2 people that are either good at comp that you know, or you know with, or you have a good relationship with, or 2 of your friends. And I think that's necessary because if you're gonna build a team, like you need to have 2 other people with you so that you can only have 2 tryouts and not have like
Yeah.
majority tryout and
Mhm.
then like
No, I'm saying like if you have 4 people that like aren't necessarily comp players, but you just like playing with them, like
yeah.
don't make
Yeah,
a comp
no,
tournament,
no,
just play
no, I know
ranked
you're
or
talking
just
about.
Yep. I was listening to another podcast. I'm pretty sure it was 6on6 that they were talking about this. And they were saying like don't make your friends your teammates, make your teammates your friends.
Yeah.
it's a great saying.
Like it's gonna help you in the long run because you're not gonna be worried about, hurting your friends' feelings about, asking them to, improve so it's for the better of the team. You're gonna be more worried about improving the team and then second worrying about them,
We talked about this last episode, I believe. Like, this is at the end of the day, a quote unquote business, really. Like, you
Yeah.
are doing what's best for yourself as another like part of this business. Like, you are trying to put yourself in the best position, but sometimes that isn't putting yourself in place to or with a better team. It's making your team better to be better than that better team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that a huge part of improving in T3, in my opinion rather, isn't necessarily so once you all turn 18 you can get to CL. I feel like T3 is more so a proving grounds where people can show off what they've got and then earn offers based off of that. It's
Mhm.
this kind of weird purgatory where you're like, I'm not good enough or I'm not old enough to be in CL, but if I prove that I could theoretically, maybe I'll get an offer for it.
Let's be realistic though. How many like I think cfols said it. How many people are actually getting an offer from a CL team? Like maybe 5 people, like max. Because
You're not.
there's 4 people, or there's mostly
Yeah.
each roster. Let's say is looking for 1 player or so. That's 4 teams, and then the rest go through quals. You might just be better off staying with your
Yeah.
team and grinding the CL quals instead of banking on the fact that you might be one of the 4 people out of the hundreds to get
Yeah.
picked for a CL spot. Like,
I mean, you might be, but like if you look at it this way, like I think like Homeland and a couple other teams, I think the new Project Neo roster, they're all like 17 plus, right? And they're 17 plus because they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna grind a CL. But like if you look at it, like I think Project Neo, like they've literally had like 3 roster changes in the past 3 weeks. They
Yeah.
picked up Unfair and then Unfair went to Phantom Troop, and it's like, come on, like are we really looking at this? Like if you're 17 plus, like yeah, you're all 17 plus, and yeah, you have the dream of going to pro, like or grinding through CL calls together, but like the odds of you guys, all 5 of you, staying together for that long and not getting poached by another team, if you're that good, is so low that like I think like it's not worth it for your team to be 17 plus and be
Well,
like,
Yeah.
and if
I
you have like
think
better options that are younger, like you might as well take them.
well, I
Because if
think
T3
that
is a proving ground for that, then you're not playing for a team, you're playing for like yourself. And I mean, yeah, it helps that your team is good and that you were good, you were the good IGL, you were doing good stuff.
Yep.
But like if T3 is a proving ground for the player, then you're playing just to play.
well, I think that I can say for me and Saad's team in particular, the whole 17 plus thing is mainly for maturity issues. And
Yeah.
like I'm 17, I turn 18 the day after fucking Christmas, right? What I will say is like, and like no offense, like easy cfols, I don't know y'all's age here, but what I will say is that a majority of people below the age of like late 16, 17, they have a very misconstrued way of how the world works, and I'm not
Yep.
claiming to know how it works either, but there's some lessons you learn in that growing period of your life that changes the way you treat other people. That being said, there are some people that are 18 plus, some people that are even in pro league that are still immature little bitches. Okay? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like treat other people fucking correctly and you will get other offers. If you're known as an asshole, you are not going to like how do you expect to go anywhere being known as the guy that's a total prick?
didn't have to call me out like that, but hey.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. All you do is bully me.
Yeah, our team right now is all 16 plus, except for our sub. But like our sub, we have him because he's like one of the most mature 15-year-olds we know.
Like who cares? It's a sub at that point, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, but still,
need it,
like
Yeah, I know.
Cfols knows what a sub is. Cool. You know who doesn't know who a sub is?
I don't know.
Yeah, but like I know our roster before it was like our org required us to be 16 plus, but now we're just keeping that rule because we've had a lot of tryouts that are very, very immature that are under the age of 16, that are very good at the game, but they're just so immature it's not even worth like giving them a shot.
Exactly. Like you can be the best at the game, right? But if you don't have these specific lessons taught to you, or you just treat people like shit, or you don't know how to react in a way that is proactive for everyone involved, then there's no point. Now, obviously, there are some situations where someone's got to get fucked over. You know, like not everything can be fucking sunshine and rainbows. But if you go out of your way to fuck people, or if you go out of your way to do something that's better for you and it fucks other people over, when there were options that could have been taken where everyone gets off a little bit better or not as fucked over, and you still choose the one that's the easiest, but it still is a piece of shit move, I don't know. I don't think that those kinds of people aren't there to play for a team. They're there to play for themselves.
100%. I can 100% agree with that based on experience. So
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah. So you're talking about all this like maturity stuff, but meanwhile, I was on your team for like 5 months. So a 15-year-old.
So
Yeah, well, what's next on the list? What's next on the list?
Yeah, right. Let's talk about ESA playoffs, and now that we're at the grand finals, right? Homeland versus Valkyrie, right?
yep.
You can talk about both the contenders and the
That
invite, right?
I think that I mean, yeah, I'm talking. Sorry, I was just talking about what I watched last night, but I think that all these matches that are coming up for ESA in particular are going to be pretty good. Valkyrie is one of those teams where, from what I've seen, is I don't want to say hit or miss, but I do think that Homeland could surprise them.
See, I think Homeland wins. I know Valk's the better team when it comes to the amount of preparation they get, but I can tell you that because they played their last match yesterday, and there's a full 3-map bot on them on maps that they like kind of like to play, kind of don't like to play. Games, I was in a call with him. We finished the game, and he's like, "All right, gotta go VOD review." Like that man has dedication to the game, and they're VOD reviewing them right now. Probably gonna be asleep during the match because he was up at like I don't know 1:20 a.m. doing VOD review work for an ESA game. And I mean that's, and he said like, "Oh yeah, I'll probably look at EPS VODs too." Like he's probably gonna go through every map they play, and he's gonna know. And I don't know if Valk has that person. I don't think they do, but I think that's why Homeland wins and why Valkyrie loses. That's my prediction for what's coming up tonight. I know that Versity's up 1-0 in the contender pile right now, but it's on Cafe and Versity's losing, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I think
when that
the
first
Varsity game's
match-
going to be really close no matter what. The game yesterday was pretty close too. I'm pretty sure Varsity's game.
Who are they playing?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. They're playing Dojo right now. Dojo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Huh. Yeah, okay. So my prediction for the Homeland Valkyrie game is that Homeland wins. I think Anarchy's insane.
Anarchy was on a heater last night. That is correct.
Yeah,
He
he's
was
really
going
good.
nuts.
Well,
Did really,
just to
really
touch
good.
on earlier, not to bring the topic back up, but I think that definitely after this, Anarchy is going to be one of those 1 in 100 players that might get a CL offer.
Maybe.
Or at least an
Maybe,
offer
it's
for
possible.
a team that has very high potential or expectations to qualify for CL. Like the chances of him getting an offer from a team that's already in CL right now are very, very low.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
no,
think
that's
that'll happen.
extremely low.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen, but he might get an offer from a team that's like
Good.
a
Probably
team
gonna get into the quals for it, right?
right.
But yeah.
cfols really doesn't like to keep his opinion secret.
We'll let it play out. But I do want. You're talking about teams, and that is something like that's just connecting back to what we were talking about earlier. Like that kind of dedication, like if he is staying up way past what he should be to like he's not sure he's gonna make some money off of this, but
He's not contract. No, he's not paid.
he's
No,
not, okay.
Homeland does not contract him.
Okay, well,
Wow.
That's even better. Like he is dedicated to improving
That's
as a like his team to improving himself. Like that is the dedication that like separates like the really good teams and the just like the
And the great
random
teams, you know.
Yeah, and it that kind of dedication and hard work is what will let you succeed. If you like, everyone says they want to be pro, but how many of you are willing to do the work that it takes to be a pro? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is something to think about. And if we are talking predictions, just like from what I've seen, the inconsistency of a team like Valkyrie might be like their downfall. So I don't know, but I'm gonna say Homeland might win this.
What I will say is this is my personal prediction, right? And I'm a total fucking idiot, so this might be completely wrong. But I think that one of those matches is going to be a complete blowout. One side or the other is going to just totally fuck over the other, and then we're going to get two barn burners. Or that's what I'm hoping.
I think so too.
Are you thinking like
I definitely think
map-wise?
it's going to be 3 maps, like 100%.
The final today is gonna be 3 maps.
Yeah, or however many maps it is.
It's a
3 or
5.
5.
It's best of 5.
Yeah, it'll probably go all the way then.
Are they sorry
I'm
for
not
my
saying that.
ignorance here, but are they doing the are they doing the extra map for the winners bracket, or are they just doing a
No, it's a single one bracket.
it's just single? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Best of 5 final.
Yeah, so I think it'll probably go 5 maps then, because it's gonna be a good match for sure.
Definitely gonna be a good match to
Their
watch.
map pools do align a bit. I know there's certain
Yeah.
maps they both like, and there's certain maps they like both don't like, I guess.
I'm not very
So I
educated,
think
but,
like their map pool might align.
what team has been a team longer? Or I mean, not even that.
Okay, if
Who has
you
more experience in finals like this?
it depends. Okay, I think Valk played ESA Invite last season. I will tell you that Homeland did play the ESA final last season for contenders, given, but Valkyrie did play ESA contender final the season before that. So these guys have both like gotten really close in contenders, and they proved they were top teams in there, so they got the promotion. This season, Homeland got the promotion because like 4 teams dropped out, and then ESA was kind of a mess and the whole shebang. But now I think they've really proven themselves, and they haven't made a roster change in a while, which was one of their like things about that old medieval team. They'd make a roster change a lot. This Valk team is known for roster changes. Like Poise kind of left, Mr. B egoed them, and so then now they have Eric and his team. Whether it's HNC 2.0 and they still keep the magic, who knows? I think if X 240 Hertz has a good game, I think they're gonna. It'll be close. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I asked that because at that best of 5, I don't know if anyone's played a best of 5 in here, but best of 5 is holy shit.
It's not fun.
It's not fun at all.
The team with the most like experience.
They both know how to play it. They're not stupid. They
Yeah.
both do 4 map scrims most of the time, so they're fine. They're
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with the
Definitely takes a lot of
roster change
endurance.
thing though is I know Valk does like mid-season they like kind of just drop 3 players and then pick up 3 new players.
Yeah.
I know that breaks 3 fits rule, but they keep one of those guys as a sub, or they keep him on the roster, but he doesn't play. So I mean, whether you think that's ethical or not, I don't know. Homeland doesn't do the same thing. Valk usually brings in a new roster every ESA season. Whether they do it this season, I don't know. But it's definitely a new roster every season. I guess it's working, so who knows? People don't know what to think about them.
It does keep things spicy. So
It keeps you don't know who you're playing against next. It's not that you don't know who you're playing
Yeah.
against the next game, but like it's almost that like you don't know who you're like. It's not the same, right? Like it's kind of like this new. If any of you have been watching CS:GO recently, like
Yeah.
Astralis, like they just bring in a new guy every other game. Like they had like Esatag in the other game.
Glaive
And then
coming
they had,
back
like,
to Astralis is fucking huge. I love that.
no, it's
he
crazy.
did
It's like
that.
they have a 7-man roster and they bring guys in and out, and so you don't like prior than 8 hours before the match, you don't know who you're playing against. You don't know what's at prep. You don't know their habits. That's crazy.
It might be the new wave of just that teams might start taking though, like just that
2
the
subs,
guys
bring them
that-
in and out.
just
It
the guys
probably
that are
works
subs
easier in
bringing it
CS:GO because the role. I think it works easier in CS:GO because the roles are a bit more like mushed together. Like the difference between a support player and a fragger like doesn't feel as much because everybody's using the same weapon, same thing. They're just doing a bit different tasks. Whereas in Siege, I think the roles are very a lot more defined.
Well, yeah, and especially because CS:GO, in my opinion, I would argue is one of, if not the most important shooter mechanically, right? And I can speak from experience. Like a few years ago, before I'd even gotten into Siege, like I was SMFC and CS. Like I had fucking dreams of going pro one day. But I was 13, right? Then I found Siege, and then I'm still dog shit at Siege, but I enjoy it more. Okay, but I don't know. We should probably get off the CS topic realistically, but
Yeah.
Whatever the hell we want to talk about. I don't give
this
a
is
shit.
true. It's our podcast.
I actually have a question for cfols and EzPz. Did either of your teams play in the SCL calls that were like yesterday?
No, we couldn't just because of player availability,
We did
and also
not
the fact
either.
that our sub is too young to play in SEL.
Yeah, they changed that, but also it's so unenforceable. It's not. I wouldn't
Yeah.
I know I'll just say this. Hazmat's 13. He literally
Yeah.
played in SCL for half the time.
Yeah.
And Yusuke
And-
he's 15.
Yeah.
Triple
no,
15.
Yep.
Like Yoki's 14, fucking Hazmat's 13, right? So age
Both those
shit.
guys haven't played in SCL. That's the difference, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they did play in the calls, but some of the rules in SCL I think are waived for certain reasons that I don't agree with.
Yeah, I think the age thing is there's definitely not it's not as big of a deal unless it's the 18 plus kind of thing. But
It's not a big
Yeah.
deal, but like
the biggest thing for us was just availability. We couldn't do it.
at the same time, a little bit of respect should go into the rules. Because if you're
Yeah,
not
I don't
gonna
know,
respect
for
the
sure.
rules of an organization or a league, like why would they want to waste their time with someone like you who just isn't gonna?
Exactly.
SCL literally broke their own rule. I'm sure they have this rule in there. If they don't, I don't know why they decided to change it. Not, but usually you're not allowed to sub a player mid map, right? That's a fact. If anybody watched the Unreal Nightmare Academy Homeland game, which was a troll because of reschedule shit that I don't even
Yeah.
want to get into.
Oh yeah.
Nevo subbed in mid map.
Yep.
Are we not going to talk about that? Also, In Control probably should have lost their.
Mid map?
Yeah.
Yeah, mid map. You didn't even. Oh, dude, it's just it was a
Yeah.
troll match. It wasn't even. It's not even worth your time.
Nope.
Unreal Nightmare Academy won 7-1 because Heems was
Yep.
playing, bro. Dude,
Yep.
they weren't. No, it was 2 p.m. It was the worst. It was the worst thing that happened to SEL. That shit happened. Shit wasn't going. I'm convinced that League is playing more for viewership and money than it is for competitive integrity. But
Yeah.
Their own.
that's just my opinion.
I think that could be said about a lot of leagues.
To each
But
his own. To each his own.
yeah.
If it's important to them, then we'll just look at that from an outsider point of view. I don't want to be a part of a league like that. But yeah, to each their own, I guess.
Well, I feel like, and this can be a whole separate conversation. I'll let y'all decide if you actually want to get into it or not. Forgive me for being far away from my bike. I definitely think that that's a huge reason that NAT3 in particular, it's so hard to actually improve as a team and to get it to a CL level because most of the leagues are fucking god awful.
Oh yeah.
Right?
There's a very handful of leagues that are semi decent.
Yeah.
And that's barely semi decent at that.
There's only
inconsistency in
one.
rules.
There's only one in my opinion. It's EPS because they don't
Yeah.
violate their own rules.
Yep.
Exactly. If you've got inconsistencies in your rules, biases with your admins, and I know prize pool isn't something to bitch about, right? But teams are going to play a bit harder if they're playing for over $1,000,
Yeah.
Right? If you're playing for 150, if you lose, you're not going to be too fucking bummed about that.
Yep.
I could make 150 off pawning shit in my fucking bedroom.
Just like all of us in the 2-3 scene want to go pro, so to say. Everyone sees a league succeeding or a league, and they want to make their own league, and most of them don't know how to do it, really.
Yeah.
And that kind of fucks over the players more than anything, because we're playing in these leagues where the inconsistency of the rules, of the admin's decisions, of just everything, it fucks with you. And I mean, okay, you may have played less well than you should have, but at the same time, oh my god, I hate Siri. at the same time, a great part of that is the admin's decision making and the way they handle things. The unprofessionalism plays into not just how we play, but also how they interact with us.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of that too is there's a lot of like lower T3, T4 leagues that are allowing their admins to play on teams, or the owner has a stake in certain teams.
Shout out Omega CL.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you guys talked about it last week, but you guys didn't name the teams, and I mean, like one of those
Yeah.
teams is I don't know vested in the league, so
Yep.
note that.
I'm just saying, impulsive do tweet some bangers, and them about Omega CL kind of hit.
You're
Yeah.
trying to get dropped off the league. I'm not saying.
Yeah, no.
we talked about that last week. It's a dead horse.
Yeah, no, me saw an easy need to you can't be saying too much about Omega CL, but
I'll stay a little hush mode, but my
yeah.
opinions are not the most positive. I'll say that.
Yeah.
All right. We're 46 minutes in. This is way longer than it was last week, but I'm okay with keeping it going. If you guys want to talk about more stuff, anything you want to contribute to the podcast, we can do it. If not, I mean, we can cut it here and that's it. But
I think there's more stuff to talk about. I
think
don't
so
even think
too.
we went through the list, bro. It is.
I think we're like
I'll look at the list again. In control region strength. Update on APS. ESA playoffs. Oh, we talked about that.
We talked about ESA playoffs and
We touched briefly on the value of a coach as an analyst.
Yeah, so so you guys were talking about, like, I noticed I was watching the podcast last week and you guys talked about like Phantom Troop. Like Proco and Poison are off that team. Like and Proco too. I have insider information that says he's off the team and that he's with like Poison's new team, which it's like him, Red Dog, and Proco. I don't know who the other two are. I think they're tryouts or something.
I mean, assuming they don't make roster changes every other fucking week, that could be a pretty good.
Phantom Troop or Poison's new team?
Poison's new team.
Poison's, yeah.
I mean, it would change, but I mean, I don't know. Next week around this time, we'll be talking about that roster dropping all 5 of its players and then being a whole new roster. You know, because reshuffle don't stop.
Indeed, it don't.
And then update on EPS. What was that about?
I think that was on the list. Basically, just
let's talk about the teams.
Yeah, just like to talk about the teams in EPS. Like EPS is definitely, I think it's the best T3 league right now.
I think it is too.
Yeah, no,
I think that's everyone thinks that right now. Yeah.
Unanimously, it's generally agreed to, and I think that EPS definitely has some of the best competition too, and it highlights some teams that, while they may not be as well known, are extremely good. Like, let's see if I can get the actual fucking full thing of teams that are playing.
The list of teams. I mean, the thing with the list of teams is, I think like some like bad teams that shouldn't deserve to be in there are in there.
I agree. Yeah,
because
I think you could say that about a lot of.
Because the qual format was pretty. It's a pretty interesting qual format. I forget what it was, if it was like Swiss or something, or like something weird, but like you could get an incentive for losing a dude. What the? Okay, whatever. I just saw some weird stuff on the ESA stream. Like you can have an incentive to lose a match. Like there's an incentive to lose a match. Like if you lose a seeding match, you can play weaker teams and get in.
Yeah.
That's like not. There shouldn't be an incentive to lose a match, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
what if both teams want to forfeit? Like, what do? Do you take a coin flip on who wants to forfeit? Like, that shouldn't ever be a thing.
No.
Yeah,
I think that was an issue with like Omega calls as well. They used like the double elim like a normal bracket, and that led to a lot of teams getting. Like there was a team that made it all the way to top 16. And I think they only played like one match.
Yeah.
I mean,
that may or may not have been us.
So the thing with the double limb is like, I find it fine because the way the double limb works is you can lose and then you'll play people on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're playing the same teams you lost to.
No.
I will say that if they don't seed it properly, two good teams, or like if the people who are running the tournament don't randomly seed it, you can have like questionable qual seeding. Somebody check this guy's moss, holy. And then like you can have some bad teams get in, like, in my opinion, bad teams get in, and good teams play each other to get in. And I mean, it makes for a good match to watch.
Mhm.
But you don't want those. You want both those teams in, and probably not that other team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
I get
gonna be
it.
an issue, like in any league, like it was an
Yeah.
issue with CL quals this
CL calls.
year.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up.
And like that's gonna happen and especially when a lot of teams are at
Yeah.
around the same level.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, what's gonna
fucking
happen?
suck.
Like, yeah.
It sucks to look in a league and see a team that got a spot, and you're looking at them, and you're like, we could totally beat these fucking guys.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
We could be running shit in this league, but you had to play a team that was exponentially better than you, and that fucking sucks.
Mhm.
But it's never going to be perfect unless the teams are handpicked, and then people will argue about bias.
No, about
Yep.
the handpick. I think the best way to run the quals, or if you see, the thing with a lot of the leagues is you don't have a lot of time for the quals. Like, teams have other
No.
leagues to do, something like that. I think in a bubble, if you have enough time to do it, like if everybody had enough time to do it, and there was only one league, you would do like the old ESL, like the one they most recent did for season like 11 of Challenger League. They did like I forget, like at least like 12 open qual days where you play like 4 teams, right? Random 4 teams. Top 16 of those open qual go into a closed bracket, right? I think that's way better than what we have with a double elim bracket. I think Siege Cardinal League is getting there with the closed bracket thing,
Mhm.
but I still think their double elim midseason qual, like, do what you want with it, like it still doesn't make a lot of sense.
Do you guys see? I'm looking at this right now. Did you guys see how Upsurge, how they're organizing the UPL versus UCLs by rank?
Yeah, so that's okay.
Yeah.
So you guys talked about
I think that's dumb.
you guys talked about Project Crimson, or maybe this was on the list this year or this. I forget if we talked about this early in the podcast, but like Project Crimson shouldn't, and Unreal Nightmare Academy shouldn't be down there. One of their players, like I was on the team at the time when we applied. Vly was gold, so that's why they're in UML. He was literally gold in that season, and like
Damn.
obviously
Ooh.
Vly shouldn't be gold.
No.
Well,
yeah. I mean, look at Vertical and Oxygen. He's like gold 1 right now. That says nothing about his skill in the
drop
game.
from Pro League. You hate to see it. Your elo's below 4,000.
Yeah,
Elias,
I think that's
remember
really
Scrim
stupid.
Fraction, Sandy Adrian just pull up his scrims as a gold 3.
Yeah, I mean that's
There's-
what the UML UCL thing is. Like if you're gonna decide between teams, I guess like rank works, but like I think you should also look at what other teams do in other leagues. That's why I think the UCL like format it's a bit flawed. Like there's no qual into it, but I mean it's working out okay. UPL there's still a quals though for, so that should be nice.
They want to like exclusivize it, right? And I understand the purpose of doing rank. It makes it easier on them at least, so they don't.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's more like they want good orgs in there for viewership, because I'm pretty sure Upsurge is more for profit than it is for anything else, because they do LoL and Dota, and I mean it's not a bad tournament organizer. Like
No.
I played in UPL, it's not bad. I mean the one game I played it got casted, so that was nice. But
yeah,
I mean
they had an issue with casting though their matches, didn't they, this last season?
So they only had like 1 or 2 matches casted on Sundays, because I think it's like they didn't have enough like time on the main channel Upsurge, because it's not like there's a separate Upsurge Siege channel. They're like doing like LoL every night, you know, or they're doing like another game every night, so they don't have enough time for Siege.
Yeah,
they make all their money on LoL and stuff. So
Siege is definitely not their biggest game, so that affects it as well.
That's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, understandably, if they're just working for profit, like I mean, it is a business. We can't complain.
I think they're going to be casting more games this season, because they moved the time to like Thursday or something, so that makes it less of like one game Sunday. Like
so that should be nice, more viewership.
It's true.
I was gonna say something, but I completely blanked. You know what? Fuck it. It doesn't matter.
Oh, and RSA is coming back.
Yeah,
I think that'll save T3. I think Royal and Ant have a good thing going. I talked to Ant about it, and he's like, "Yeah, we have something cooking up before they announced RSA coming back." And I was like, "Is it RSA?" And he's like, "I don't know." And then they just announced it 2 days later. It's like, come on, man! Like we all knew this was coming. I think all the good teams will try and call for it, and it'll be good. I think it'll be really good. It'll be like EPS season 3. Could be good.
Yeah.
And I think RSA is going to be fantastic, particularly because Ant and everyone who's involved with that, like, they know what they don't want in a league. They know the issues that
and they have the connections to the players. That's what AGN lacks. The new AGN
AG
host.
Yeah, new AGN is so disconnected from not only players but just the fucking Siege scene. Like the admins didn't even know the fucking rules of like I don't know, dude. We already
It's
touched on the AGN mess,
It's
but
bad, yeah.
like
Wait, is that uniform banned? I didn't know.
I think that RSA is definitely going to help. Saving T3, I feel, is a bit melodramatic, but it's definitely going to improve the competition. I also think that if done correctly, I don't know if it'll be better than EPS, but it'll definitely be one of those titans of T3.
It'll be the new CCS. Because
Yeah,
CCS,
CCS people, can y'all fucking do something, please?
Yeah.
I've heard some things
CCS
that
bad.
I probably can't talk about publicly, but yeah.
Well, they're dropping these
Sorry.
little hints every other month, and then 3
Yeah.
months goes by and nothing's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd like to tell you guys, but I don't think I'm at liberty to, so.
It's okay.
Just wait till the recording's off.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys after the recording, actually.
Well, we're at 56 minutes, so to keep this under an hour, I think we've covered everything we need to cover. Thank you, cfols and Easy, for coming out. Thank you to Sam and Elias for making
Talking.
it flow as well as it could have for our second episode. Next week, we'll be joined by Prodigy and Ali Princess. We're gonna
Probably.
Yeah.
most likely.
And in that episode in particular, we're going to be talking about some of the issues that plague the Siege scene, particularly with racism and sexism. It will just as a little topic to talk about on it because those are pretty fucking prevalent.
Yeah, so next week it will be a little less light. So I'm just going to let you guys know. It will be more serious and probably less jokes being thrown around. And I don't know. It's an issue that needs to be covered. So that's something that we, with a small platform, but a platform nonetheless, want to talk about. So, anyways, thank you everyone for coming in. And yeah, you guys want to say anything before we end the podcast?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, second that. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
I didn't mean to hit that though.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, bye everybody, and we'll see.
No, hang on. Honestly, thank you, Easy and cfols, for coming on. Like, I know we're really small right now, and like just to like come on here and just to talk, it really means a lot to us. We want to thank you guys just for being our first guests. You guys did great.
You guys said guest last week, didn't you know?
No,
No,
it was just the 3 of us, and the first episode was utter dog shit.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
In this one, I feel has flowed much better. Obviously, we all have things to improve on. Not y'all as guests, but me, Sam, and Saad. What I will say is, graphics at some point should be incoming. By the way, everybody. No, fucking. Not gonna say when we're getting them because that's a bit fuzzy. But at some point, it's not just gonna be a black screen that you're staring at while listening to us ramble on about underage shit.
Also, live streams where you guys can ask questions that we can talk about. That'll be coming eventually. Maybe soon, maybe not, but it'll happen.
The
So-
response to these podcasts, or at least, I mean, the one we did, was way more than we expected. Like, I mean, 150. We got like 150 views, which I mean is by no means a lot, but for us, that kind of meant something. Like, we're reaching like, I mean, at least 100 people who actually want to listen to what we have to say, and that is something that is important to the 3 of us, and we appreciate that. So thank you everyone for, as long as you're listening to this, thank you for listening to it.
All right. I
that's
think
all
we can
have
call
for
it there.
the week. We'll see you guys next week with episode 3. All right, bye.